You're beautiful, smile, you're beautiful.
Welcome to the Mindset Great podcast, a show for midlife professional women who want to rediscover their confidence so they can change their lives personally and professionally. If you're an action taker who is ambitious, goal-oriented, and driven, this podcast is for you. Our conversations are going to walk through the latest strategies to build your confidence, identify your goals, discover your passions, and mindset tools to allow you more time and freedom to live the life you want. I am your host, Michelle Barris, retired police sergeant, small business owner, current registered nurse, turned certified women's empowerment coach, and founder of The Great Method and the Mindset Great podcast. More importantly, I'm on a mission to change one woman at a time. Join me each week as we engage in topics and conversations with empowering women just like you. I offer corporate-based workshops and one-on-one coaching. Let's break through the barriers of imposter syndrome and rediscover your confidence to change your life personally and professionally. So sit back, grab a pen and paper to take notes, and let's dive in.
Right. It's never too early or late to start, to rise up and shine.
All right, welcome back to the Mindset Great podcast. Today, I have a very special guest with us, Andrea Klein. She is in the house, and I just want to give props to her to say that her life of freedom is so stated in everything that she does that she actually was able to make last minute changes to actually talk with us this morning. And I am very thankful for that. She's actually in Italy right now. So with that, welcome Andrea to the Mindset Great podcast. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on this morning and afternoon for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is wonderful. I've had a great morning already. So I'm just full of things to talk about.
Wonderful. So you're in Italy right now?
Yep. In Venice.
Wonderful. And how long have you been there?
3 weeks.
Okay.
And I have one more week. So
Wow.
a whole month is the plan.
I love it. I love that you're able to travel over and do all this. Who is Andrea, and how did you get started in the world of entrepreneurship and all that jazz?
I'm 43 and I decided to go to beauty school when I was 34 or so. And knowing that I wanted to be solo and have my own business, but I had no idea when I started that it would lead to all these other opportunities, not only within the beauty industry, but also obviously outside the beauty industry. So once the ball got rolling, I think I worked by myself. I rented a little room in the back of a spa, and people now that they're like, that was like a little closet. It was like this 10 by 10 room with no windows. And I would just plug away for hours in there by myself, doing my lashes or facials or whatever. Did that for a couple of years. And of course I wanted to keep growing. So then I bought a little property and turned it into a spa, did that for a couple of years, but then I was kind of capped out at how many employees I could have and all of that. So then I got more of a storefront, downtown Urbana, so a college town, and did a big build out. So we have several treatment rooms. I think there's like 5 or 6 I should know this since I'm the boss, but 5 or 6 estheticians, a couple massage therapists, microblader. Yeah. So now I've got I've got my brick and mortar going, and that running smoothly has enabled me to step away and then focus on the Liberte Foundation. And then that's actually why I'm in Italy.
Okay, perfect. So you went back to beauty school at 34.
I think so. Yeah.
I was a little bit older than 34 because I'm 46 now. I was a little bit older, but
Okay.
What was your background prior to beauty school?
I never finished college. So
Okay.
I don't have like a college degree or anything. I would take classes every now and then to learn a trade, but really for the most part, doing part-time jobs every now and then, I was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
So I got married young, had my first baby at like 24. So I had a couple kids close together, and then basically just like stayed home and took care of the kids. And when they got big enough to, go to school and I could have some free time, then I was like, all right, it's on. I'm going to figure out something.
I love it. Yes, I love it. I thought you were going to say you had kids young at 24. And I was like, I was 19. So a little bit younger than that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you retired. What I love about it is you and I have a mutual friend in common, Daniela Warner,
Uh-huh.
with our growth factor work that we do. And what I love about it is she did an interview with you on the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast, and you retired out of the treatment room in 18 months.
Yeah,
How
I
did
know.
was
It's
that?
true.
Does it still feel weird to be out of the treatment room or not at the spa every day, or have you adjusted?
I think it was so gradual. I mean, so 18 months, okay, that's true. But I mean, obviously, I've been working by myself solo for years. So I had the reputation, I had the clients, so that when the clock started at 18 months, and I was like, all right, now I'm getting serious about having a spa manager, more employees, so on and so forth, that by the time I step out of the treatment room completely, it felt like the natural course of events. But I mean, I wake up every day like so glad I don't have to go in and do lashes.
Right.
I mean, it was great and it served its purpose, but man, that I mean, it's just hard. Every job you have is going to have the hard parts, but that was just hard on my mind and hard on my body. And so even though I'm glad that skill really helped build a strong foundation for my spa, it's really nice that I don't have to do that anymore.
Right. Especially for your lower back.
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay, so you started the Liberty Foundation.
Mhm.
What gave you this idea to start the Liberty Foundation?
Well, originally, like, so when the world all shut down a couple years ago, and so then I was sent home packing, and was at home with all day, every day free, like the rest of the world. I started to think about how I could, on a practical level, create another income for myself that wasn't related to my brick and mortar being open. So I thought, oh, I'm going to make my own skincare line. Or so it started out as something that was kind of like a necessity or a practical desire to make sure that I had a financial safety net. Um, but the more I started thinking about the products I would create and having all of that time off of work to really think creatively, like you go from working 10-hour days, all hunched over in the spa doing lashes or facials, and overnight that's like gone. So I had something I had never had before, and that was time to think creatively, not think about how to put the next fire out like my days would usually be, but like, wow, what else could I do? What else is there? What else can I do with the knowledge I have? Um, so I started to appreciate how me having the ability to even to think creatively was a form of freedom, and how that was something I was really, really grateful for. And so I thought, okay, so I'm going to make this other business. I'm going to create a skincare line or a device or something, but how can I use this business to actually pay it forward? So that's how I came up with like the Liberty Foundation for Women. Liberté, the French word for freedom. So how can I help other women achieve this gift? So now with the proceeds from the company, part of those go to the foundation, and the foundation serves to give women like me and you, small business owners, grants. So money you don't have to pay back to either start or sustain a small business, and to help to like perpetuate that gift of freedom.
I love that. I think that is awesome. And so has anyone, or have you given, I know I see it on your videos that you post and the documentaries that you've been doing, that has anyone asked you what freedom means to you?
Once or twice, and I haven't answered.
Okay. I guess you're saving that for the red carpet.
Well, I mean, I have an answer. Actually, I did an interview with the videographer last week in Venice, and she asked me, and I mean, the simple answer is freedom to me is being able to live the life I was meant to live. But that sounds pretty cliche. And matter of fact, when I ask women that question, what does freedom mean to you? I get an answer that's something like that. But the real magic and the real connection happens when you ask the woman, why is that your answer? And then the why is what we all can relate to and glean encouragement from.
Right.
So, why is that my answer? That's a whole other podcast.
Well, I think that it's a very inspirational what you're doing for sure. And so these grants that you're doing now with so do you prefer Liberty or Liberté? Because I've done it
Whatever you
both
want.
ways.
It's Liberté, it's French, but I don't know if I'm saying it right. So I just call it Liberty.
What is the grant? And when I know that there's a little bit of information out there, I've shared a little bit here and there with people to know about the grant, in your words, and how do we get the word out for all these beauty owners who are interested in doing this?
Yeah. Well, the goal of the Liberty is to give grants to women that are in all kinds of trades, not just in the beauty industry. But we
Okay,
are going
good.
to launch the foundation with grants specific to women in beauty because we've partnered with Addo Aesthetics. So they're going to donate a large portion of money to the foundation so that we can help women really that I can relate to. I want to help everybody, but I do know beauty. So let's start there and
Right.
then we can grow from there. So these grants are going to be in increments of $10,000 because I feel like we kind of went back and forth, like, what's a good amount? I'm like, you know what? You can do a lot with 5. But then I'm like, 10, you can really make an impact.
Mhm.
So I'm like, let's just do these in chunks of 10,000. So yeah, that's the idea. Women that are doing what what you do and what I've done. And not just spa. I mean, beauty encompasses all kinds of things, nails and hair and product development. So
Right. I love it. I think that's wonderful. And I believe that right now we're in just sign up phase to get information on it. And then the application is going to open up in July. Does that sound about
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Or
then it'll be
somewhere
like a
around there?
vetting process so we
Okay.
can go through. And I don't even know if I'm going to be one of the people that goes through and does any of the selecting, but I'm sure there'll be a different committee for that. But yeah, then you will have to choose who gets the grants
Well, what
and
I
then
love
follow
about
their
this
journey,
is this is worldwide, right? Because you're in Italy getting freedom information.
Yeah. You know, as far as the first round of grants, partnering with Addo Aesthetics, that would be the US and Canada. I mean, it might be able to be to beauty anywhere. I just have to figure out the legal side of that. But
Right.
yes, ultimately, yeah, I want the Liberty movement to be worldwide because we're all the same. We really are. And once we get talking to each other, we have the same issues. We just look different on the outside. But on
Right.
the inside, we're like mad at our husband, or the kids are screaming and we're tired, wondering how we're going to balance a checkbook. And it's that. And so yeah, freedom I don't want it to be exclusive. If I have the ability to make this a global brand and a global movement, then, well, yeah, how could I not do it?
Well, if
Um,
anyone has the ability, it's certainly you. And the
I hope
willpower
so.
and the drive.
Yes,
It's certainly you. So
definitely.
how would one, if there's a woman listening right now, because I would say that 85% of my listeners are women between the age of 42 and 59.
Okay.
If a woman right now is listening and they, like you and I, were in our, late 30s, early 40s even, wanting to change and take a different direction in life, what do you say to them? What advice do you wish someone would have told you when you started?
I do these Liberty interviews and I always ask that question. And it's so weird you ask me because nobody ever asks me the questions. I'm the one that's always doing the interviewing. So I think if somebody were to ask me that, I would say I don't want to just be nonchalant and say, go for it, follow your dreams, you can do whatever you want, the world is your oyster. Yeah, that is true in a lot of times, but a lot of times it also does take some calculation, some planning, and it takes some baby steps. So I would say make a plan. Make a plan and break your goal down into little pieces and surround yourself, even if it's just one other woman who has accomplished what you are trying to do, and make her your friend, make her your mentor. And because the encouragement, the advice, the association you get from people that have achieved what you want is really going to help propel you. And don't take it all in a big, in a big chunk, like, all right, I want to own a med spa downtown with 10 employees, and that's awesome. And you can do it, but let's bring it back a little bit and see step 1, step 2, step 3. And yeah, make a plan, because you can get really far on drive, emotion, and support, like your cheerleaders. but you got to have the practical side put together too. It's equally important.
Right.
It can be done.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's I'm going to have to keep that in the back of my mind for a response, because that was perfect.
Yeah.
So you're traveling now.
Uh-huh.
You've been in Italy 3 weeks. What's the next step for Liberty and for Andrea? Where's she going? What is she doing?
As far as the world tour, I'm going to go to Central America in a couple of months, or maybe it's 6 weeks from now. I don't have to look at my schedule. And then I'm coming back to Europe for like 6 weeks over the summer. But just this morning, I was thinking to myself, like the fall, I had planned on like Africa and Asia doing that. But what I am finding is I'm getting better results, and I'm meeting more and more women and making better connections the longer I stay in one place. So at first I was like, well, I can just skip around, do this country for 3 days, this country for 3 days. But I think I need to just kind of rein it in and just kind of find somewhere to plant myself for like 3 or 4 weeks and really see that area through, and then move on to the next place. So the year started as I'm going to hit like all 7 continents. I'm going to find someone in Antarctica to talk to.
I was like, that's where I'm like, are you just knocking on random doors? Hello, do you own a woman business?
Yeah,
how are you finding your women?
I'll talk to I talk to waiters. I talk to people on the planes, subways, trains.
I love it. So do any of these women, when you get into their country, do they have an idea that you're coming? Have you pre-planned anybody?
No.
Oh,
there's one woman, and she's actually turned out to be one of the nicest, sweetest women I've met on this journey. And if you go to my Instagram page, you can see I tag her like every day, like a stalker. But her name's Anna, and she works at her family's leather shop called Kuromi in Venice.
Oh, is this the laptop bag?
Yes,
I think I want one. I was gonna send you a message.
I'll hook you up.
I'm like, these are gorgeous.
They are gorgeous, and her mom makes them.
While you were there.
What'd you say?
While you were there, and within this 3 weeks, she made you one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah. Well, yes. But what happened is I didn't know this woman at all when I got here. I was just happened to be eating at a pizza place across the street, and I was leaving after dinner one night. I was alone, just walking down the alley by myself, like, all right, guess I'll go home and go to bed. And I just turned my head, and there was this beautiful woman standing in this lit up window, surrounded by all of these pretty leather bags and belts and things. And it just, if I hadn't been looking in that direction, if she hadn't been standing in that light, I probably would have kept going. But I turned and I was like, wow. It was just like, I've got to meet her. I've got to talk to her. So I'm like, march on in and tell her who I am, give her my Liberty speech. And I admired all of her handiwork. But I think, and I said, let's talk, let's interview you. And I want to see what you do and all this. And she said, oh, okay. Yeah, that's great. And I'm like, all right, I'll be back in 2 days with my camera. The next day I get a text from her, and she's like, I changed my mind. Like, I don't think I'm really cut out for this project. But thanks for asking. And I was like, well, shoot, man, that was going to be good.
Right.
And I said, well, will you still make my custom bag? I still want the bag, even though you don't want to do the interview. And she's like, well, yeah, of course. So she did the bag. I go to pick up the bag 2 days later. And then we really hit it off. We got talking, her explaining the intricacies of the bag. I think that helped us build like a connection and a friendship.
Right.
And so then she would start answering questions and let me get little videos of her working, and start talking about her mom and her dad. And now I keep going back to the point, I feel like I have a friend. And that would not have happened had I just been here for 2 days. So I meet her, and she's like, she's getting comfortable with me. She's like, oh, there's a wonderful artist in town named Cosima. You've got to meet Cosima. So now I meet Cosima, and Cosima's like, oh, you've got to meet this other woman. And so now all these wonderful connections are happening around the city because I just took the time to slow down and build some rapport and make a connection. And that's what it's all about. Now they're trusting me to tell their stories.
Right. So did you have to change your vacation up a little bit to stay longer there then, or had you already?
No.
Okay.
No. I was going to be here for a month. And honestly, I thought I was going to be bored for the whole month. I brought all these projects to do. Like I was going to I don't know, write my memoirs or something, but I haven't done any of my other projects.
Oh, well, that's good.
Just like pounding the pavement and just meeting all these great artists.
So you'll be home back in the States. Now, I do have a question over there in Italy. Are you with a translator? Does everyone speak English? Are you having a language barrier?
I don't speak the language. There is a language barrier problem, and I don't have a translator. There is one interview I did where I had to hire a translator. But other than that, it's tricky because, if you're going into a shop to buy something, you need a certain amount of English, or the shopkeeper needs a certain amount. But if you really want to get into the nitty gritty of what freedom means to them, let's talk about the journey and blah, blah, that's a whole other type of vocabulary. So yeah, I've had to hire an interpreter once, or a couple situations I've gotten lucky, where a friend is there that can translate, or another person that works in the shop can translate. And sometimes I've just done these interviews in Italian and just hope for the best, and hopefully it gets translated and it comes out well.
Was that your plan to hit worldwide, to have women on there from different countries?
Oh yeah. That's the whole idea. Yeah. To show, I want to draw parallels. I want the woman that grooms dogs in Alabama to feel a connection to the woman that grooms dogs in Paris or South Africa. You're not alone. We're all in this together, because besides needing money for these businesses, we need encouragement and we need mentorship. And those are two things I know a little bit about. So that's the goal. Provide money and encouragement and mentorship.
I love it. Well, thank you so, so very much for taking the time out of your day to stop and chat with me. I will have all your information to link up in there and for people to have for the Liberte Foundation. Should we touch on businesses wanting to be brand ambassadors for Liberte and what they need to know?
Yeah. Well, right now, if you're listening and you're part of the Addo Aesthetics Growth Factor Framework, you can apply to be an ambassador. So basically what that means is you do carry the device that I make, the Onyx, the 5-in-1 facial device, and you agree to a few other things, like it's all in the application, but it's basically to certain amount of participation in growth factor things. But yeah, if you're selected, you get invited to a one-on-one event with Daniela, a free month of growth factor. It's really good. Yeah. If you want to be part of the team.
Okay. I know there's a few of us that still listen in on us, so we'll make sure that we get that word out. Okay. Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you again so very much. If people want to keep the conversation going, they can head over to our free Facebook group. It's the Mindset Great Coaching, Empowerment Coaching for Women. And thank you again. Have so much fun in Italy. Thanks. And we'll see you when you get back stateside.
All right. See ya.
Your beautiful smile, your beautiful life.
Thanks for listening to the Mindset Great podcast. If you've been loving this podcast and it is helping you approach your life and career in a brand new way, I have 3 requests/small favors. Number 1, make sure you hit subscribe so you're getting all the latest episodes to this podcast. Go ahead, I'll wait. Do it right now so you don't miss anything. Number 2, would you be so kind as to give me a review on Spotify or iTunes? Reviews help other professional, career-driven, and highly skilled women just like you find this podcast, and it lets them know they don't want to miss anything. It also helps the podcast climb in rankings, so think of it as empowering women to the top, paying it forward. And number 3, please join our Facebook group, Mindset Great Coaching. It is only for professional women and only those who are serious about changing their lives. If you're ready to take massive action and invest in yourself and your career, I would be honored to help you. Head on over to the Facebook group and let's get connected. Until next time, allow yourself grace and be beautiful.
Rise up and shine. With every morning comes a new chance to start over. Every day is a treasure.